Welcome to my channel, Purposeful Play, where I talk about all things early childhood education. I'm Danielle, and today I want to give you five-ish tips on how to make your library center or your library interest area more interesting for your students. And hopefully they will spend some more time there. So let's get started. Tip number one, making sure that you have somewhere comfortable for the children to sit. So you could use beanbag chairs, you can use little, like I've seen those little teeny tiny, almost like lazy boy chairs. They're a little pricey, but maybe you've got the budget for them. I had those milk crates, those milk crates that you get at Walmart or wherever actually. And then I had pieces of plywood that were fitted to fit in the little lips of it, and then there was a piece of foam, big piece of foam, and I covered it in fabric and stapled it on there, so it was like a soft little cushion kind of stool. Some other ideas are those scoop sort of chairs, a bucket kind of chair. I'm trying to think what else I've seen in those in that the library. That's kind of all I can think of right now, but making sure that it's comfortable. Also putting in some other homey kind of touches. Maybe there's photos in frames of the children or children's families. You can even put art in there, hanging on the walls. Just making sure that it has children's work around. And then you can also put some soft lighting, like a little lamp, and have that turned on, and maybe even some plants, some live plants, or maybe animal, fish or something that could also go in that library area. So making sure that it looks welcoming and comfortable and inviting. So that's tip number one. Second tip, books. Lots and lots of books. So thinking of finding a shelf that the children can see all the fronts of the book, so they're facing out and all the fronts or the covers of the books are visible. And then in choosing books, you want to make sure that they are quality literature. There are some you can get that are like the Disney ones that have like all the Disney characters, like more of those, I don't know if it's commercial, but you know what I mean? Not just Disney characters, like Spider-Man and those kinds of things. So making sure that you find some really good quality books. So when children are looking at them, they're learning something from them. And also from a variety of kinds of books. So ABC books, maybe books like that have numbers or counting or number operations or something like that in them. Nonfiction books, some content learning books. So thinking about other things that they're learning from them. Fairy tales, student-made books, and then also books that feature diverse characters or children or people or families in those books. And the last one is predictable books. So those ones that have like a repeating phrases or like a pattern to them. Brown Bear, Brown Bear. The Napping House, where they keep saying the same phrase over again and they build on it. Things like that. And then also ones that have some kind of social emotional theme throughout them, so that those are ones that you can use for discussions. So that is like a big one, choosing the right kind of books that are in that area. The third thing is a listening area. So whether it is books on CDs, do people even use CDs? I know that I had a CD player and a whole collection of CDs that went with an actual physical book, so the students can flip through the book. When it rings a little bell, you're supposed to turn the page, and then some good headphones. I actually found a splitter on Amazon that you plug into the CD player, and then that way it has like two things to plug headphones in, so two students can listen at the same time. If you have some kind of device, maybe an iPad or something like that. You can also look for ebooks, so books that the students can listen to that way as well. You just have to be careful with that they're not, clicking through and tapping on things. There is a way to lock that. You'll have to Google that. That's a whole other thing. But there is a way to lock an iPad. I don't know about other tablets, but I know that there's a way to lock an iPad that they have to stay in that area. The next thing is materials to retell stories that they've heard. So books that you have read together. So you could have puppets that go along with some stories. They don't actually have to be ones that students are retelling. It could be any kind of puppets that they can make up their own stories. Stick little figures or puppets, whether it's made by you, the teacher, or they're student made, which is probably even better if they're made by the students. Great thing you can do, I don't know if it's legal, but I do it anyways. You can photocopy pictures from the book and then just cut them out, laminate them, and then stick them on a popsicle stick, and then they become little stick puppets. Little costumes, whether it's headbands so that they can be like the characters, maybe one small piece of clothing, and then also like you can have paper headbands. Children can actually make those ones as well. So if you're doing maybe the 3 little pigs, maybe the students are making their own headbands to look like the pigs or the wolf. That's fun. And then the last thing is for retelling stories are felt stories or felt pieces, flannel stories. Some people call them flannel. I have a video on how I make my own felt stories, and I'll link that down below because they're very easy. I feel like they're super simple, and it's great too when you're doing your own read alouds to keep the kids engaged. You can give them each a piece of it, and they can help you retell the story, and then that can go in your library area, which I think is great. If you've been doing some poems or songs or nursery rhymes or things like that, you can write them out on strips of paper. I think they're called sentence strips actually, and have one of those little pocket charts. And then the children can take turns, reading and pointing to them. Sometimes I have ones where you can change out a word. Down by the bay where the watermelons grow, that one, and then you can change out the rhyming words. Something like that where the kids are a little bit more, it's a little bit more interactive, so they're more engaged in it. And then, or you can, if you don't have a pocket chart, you can always put it on a piece of chart paper and hang that in your library. Okay, this is more than 5 things. I'll have to count them, but I said my top 5 ideas to keep your library center interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe make it 7, 10, who knows? Number's not important. But the other thing is that other texts, so not just including books, but including other texts, magazines, posters, postcards, letters, anything you can think of that has something that the children can read is great for other texts to read. And the last thing, number 127, whatever number I'm on, is writing. So with your library, or next to it, right near it, all included in the same thing, should be writing, because reading and writing, it's all part of literacy. So having a really well-stocked writing table is great. So thinking about a variety of things that the students can write on. So whether it's paper, and a good variety of sizes and colors and shapes of paper, books, blank books that students can write on. Again, ones that have a variety of colors and shapes and sizes. Envelopes, so that if they want to write little letters to their friends and family, they can do that. Even a mailbox would be fun to have, so the students can mail them right there beside their writing table. I like to have some kind of stickers or stamps that actually look like a stamp, so that they can address their letter and then put that stamp on the corner. It's kind of a neat thing for them to learn about, because it's actually something that they will do one day in real life. And then for them to have access to the names of the other students in the class, whether it's something that is posted on a word wall, or putting them on a ring, and then they can flip through the ring and find the name that they want to use. Also names of familiar people, whether it's mom, dad, grandma, teachers' names, having those available too. is really good. And then I think too, if you can have a word wall, and it's not like a kindergarten word wall, this word wall is it's very interactive. So you can have things on a ring or a hook that children can take off and flip through to find the words that they want to write. So, as you're learning new vocabulary, whether it's through a book you're reading or a study topic that you're doing, add those words together to little strips of paper and add it to your word wall. And that's also where you can put the children's names, is on that word wall. Different manipulatives for letters of the alphabet, whether they're little wooden ones, magnets, beads, little letters on beans. I mean, the sky's the limit with that, but any little alphabet letters can go in your writing area, in the library area. And then thinking up with ways that children can use them. I have some ideas in another video about learning letters. I can't remember what it was called, but actually I think I have a couple of videos, but I will link those down below, so in case you need some ideas for those. Having different ways that the children can explore, I don't even know if that's the right for building, writing, tracing letters. So it could be one of those little salt trays or sugar trays, little sand trays where they can be writing the letters in the sand or the salt with the finger, paintbrush, or the back of a pencil. You can have letter cards that go along with that they can put, and they can be looking at those to copy. You could also use the little manipulatives that I just talked about. You can use those. Alphabet stamps and ink to use those stamps. Alphabet stickers, those are really fun too. I was thinking, the reason why I started thinking about this video was because I don't even know where I found this, why it made me think of this, but I was thinking of these magic letters and how I was showing the students how to make these magic letters. And so they would write something on a piece of paper, remember, with a white crayon, and then you can either use watercolors to paint over it, or you can just use like a washable marker and color over it. It's like magic, and the letter appears. And then that kind of caught me thinking about putting things, how to create a library area that was interesting. So, materials like that to help them. Oh, that's another thing I didn't say, was a variety of writing materials. So whether it be thin markers, fat markers, short markers, colorful markers, crayons, colored pencils, sparkly ones, pencils, pens, any kind of variety of things that the students will love to write with is great. Another thing, I think this might actually be the last thing I can think of to put in the writing area, is a stapler and a hole punch, and teaching the children how to use those properly so that they can create their own books, showing them how to staple the pages together so that they're, they can open their books the right way. Using a paper, like a hole punch, a handheld hole punch, and maybe running ribbon or yarn through that to make a tied book is a lot of fun. And don't be afraid to let the children use those materials, as long as you're teaching them how to use them. Okay, so those are all my ideas on things you can put in the library area, the reading/writing area. And the last thing I want to say is, if you build it, they will come, which is, I know everybody has to know that quote from the movie Field of Dreams, which oddly enough is one of my favorite movies. My family thinks I'm crazy, but I think it is, I loved it. If you build it, they will come. If you create a library center that is exciting, engaging, inviting, the children are going to go there. And if you find that they're not, plop yourself down there and start reading and be excited and happy about it. Sit down at the writing table and start writing, and then before you know it, you're gonna have a whole crew of kids sitting with you, wanting to read, wanting to write. So if you build it, they will come. Like I said, I'm gonna put some the links to some of my couple other videos, so it might be, I think they'd be a little bit helpful in creating that library area. If you have any questions, let me know, drop them in the comments down below, or of course, if you have ideas, share them down below as well. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a happy day.